We're going to move on now to perhaps the most baffling of all paranormal phenomena, and that's the ability that some people seem to have to predict the future. All through history there have been examples of this happening, from the oracle of ancient Greece to modern premonitions of disasters like the sinking of the Titanic. But the trouble is, we usually get to hear about these predictions after the event, when it's too late to judge whether they're genuine or not. And that's actually a shame, because premonitions are far more common than a lot of us might realise. In June this year, the B&Q store in Hull was destroyed by fire. A few days earlier, a local woman, Barbara Garwell, had experienced a vivid dream.
Well, I was in a warehouse. The heat was so intense I couldn't get outside. And from one end of the sky to the other there was this horrible looking thing, thick, grey, black in colour. But when I did awake, I said, I know there will be a fire, a big fire, soon.
Barbara has had premonitions all her life. So impressive is her record, in fact, that Dr. Keith Hearn, a parapsychologist, has been studying her closely for several years.
Really intense.
Current orthodox science says that premonitions can't exist because you can't have an effect before a cause. But there are many, many people like Barbara out there who are having premonitions all the time. And I believe it's absolutely vital to study these people, because if what they claim is correct, then the whole of science is going to be turned upside down.
Barbara reports her premonitions to Keith as soon as they happen. They're logged and later scientifically assessed by independent judges. Many of her strongest premonitions have been about major disasters, like the sinking of the Marchioness on the River Thames.
I saw this beautiful pleasure boat sink, and everything went cold and dark, and I did see searchlights put onto the river, and I did hear a voice say to me, and they searched all through the night.
The grim task of searching for bodies continued long into the night.
The description she gave 21 days before the event was virtually a running commentary of what happened on the television news as I saw it myself. Some of her premonitions are very specific indeed. There was one which concerned an attack on the Pope.
I saw a multitude of people, and out of this multitude of people, I saw one man's hand. It lifted, and as the Pope passed, he lunged at the Pope with a dagger, and someone at the same time retrieved his hand.
And 3 days later, a man lunged at the Pope with a bayonet. This was at the Fatima Shrine in Portugal. That was a staggering premonition.
Keith has also been studying Leslie Castleton, who had what he calls a media premonition.
It was Saturday morning, and I was watching the television, watching the Saturday morning film, and the word newsflash came on the screen. No pictures, just the word. And this man's voice said that there'd been this horrific explosion at Flixborough, and gave numbers of people that had died, people that were injured, and gave out chemical names, which I can't remember. And then the news flash went off, and the film continued, and we saw it on the evening news at night, and there they actually gave the pictures, not just the word newsflash that I saw, of this explosion, but they said that it had happened at tea time. So we all thought they'd got it wrong. Anyway, the next morning I got up, looked at the Sunday paper, and in the Sunday paper it also said that it had happened at the tea time. Janice, my friend, looked at me and she said, but you told us about that, at lunchtime when we came in.
Now, it only takes one of those cases to have been a genuine premonition for the whole scientific apple cart to be upturned. When is science going to take into account these parapsychological phenomena?
Well, maybe soon. On Out of This World, we're going to try and help with the research into this fascinating subject. So along with Dr. Keith Hearn, we're going to be launching Britain's first national TV premonitions bureau. So if you have a premonition about a future event, we'd like you to tell us about it. Don't wait to see if it comes true, because we need to know straight away. The vital thing is to get them to us and on record before they happen. all the premonitions we receive will be logged and assessed for accuracy. And this is the address to write to. Out of This World, BBC White City, 201 Wood Lane, London, W127TS. And we'll give you that address again at the end of the programme. It will be really exciting just to get one premonition which turns out to be true. When one person has a strange experience, it can often be explained away quite easily. But when two or more people experience the same thing in the same area on different occasions, then you have a mystery on your hands. That's how it was with our final story tonight. Two men, each driving alone through the night, with nothing in common until they came to Bluebell Hill.
Yes, sir. Can I help you?
I've had an accident. I think I've just hit someone. A young girl.
Sir,
stepped
have you
out
called
and
an ambulance?
What? No. I didn't think. Well, I didn't know what to do.
Sir, just calm down, all right? Now, she's not hurt. Is this girl with you? Sir?
No, she isn't. I think she's... Oh, I'm sorry. Look, what I mean, I can't find her. I hit her, but I can't find her.
I'd finished work, jumped in the car, and I was coming home. I was quite happy. I was wide awake, driving down the hill, and I saw a lady standing in the road. I was doing about 50 miles an hour, and I thought the lady must see me coming down the hill, and as I got close to her, she just ran straight in front of the motor car. As I hit her, she was looking over her shoulder, looking straight at me, and as I hit her, she went down under the front of the car. I could never forget her face. She was just a round face, roundish face, shoulder-length hair, fair hair. She had a lightish coat on with a jumper or a roll neck.
Ian works as a coach driver. He's driven many times on this road and knows it well.
Just here, right here. She's going to be here somewhere. She must be.
Once we were satisfied there was no sign of an accident, no damage to his car, and particularly in view of where it had occurred, we just had to write it off as another sighting of the Bluebell Hill ghost.
The ghost to me is something white or pale that you can see through, but this was a real lady, real flesh and blood. I'm not a believer in ghosts at all, but there's got to be some kind of answer to what that was at the time.
There have been at least 10 mysterious sightings here since the mid-60s. An old crone terrified 2 families early last year. And several motorists tell of giving a lift to a young woman who disappeared before reaching her destination. But why here in particular? Why Bluebell Hill? The area's history reveals it to have been a place of mystic belief throughout the ages, crisscrossed by roads ancient and modern. A Roman road runs parallel to the modern dual carriageway. There's a Stone Age pathway at the bottom of the hill, and the area is covered in burial chambers. This is Kit's Coty, once part of a group of ancient stones, second only to Stonehenge in their importance, and reputedly the site of many battles. Man continues to leave his mark on the landscape in modern times. There's a line of electricity pylons crossing the road, and 8 television transmitters straddle the horizon within a mile of Kit's Coty. Ian Sharp's sighting was by no means the first, and the next was to be exactly 2 weeks later. Once again, it was a Sunday.
During the day, all of us had been out to Brands Hatch to watch the racing. A nice day, everyone was in a good mood, came back, hadn't been drinking at all, did the normal route. I was being very observant of what was going on around me, mainly because normally at the hill you do get a lot of kids playing around, even at that time of night. I looked behind between the cars that were parked on the side of the road. She wasn't between them, she wasn't underneath them. She couldn't have gone anywhere else. There was no way someone like that could have gone out and run off. At this time I started to panic.
Come on. Hello, Dad? No, I'm not. I'm in a call box. Top of Bluebell Hill. Listen, Dad, what? No, the village. Listen, Dad, I've had an accident. No, I'm all right. I think I've killed somebody. This girl, she just ran out into the road. I tried to stop, but I couldn't. No, I haven't. What have I done? What have I done?
I was trying to get him to calm down for a few brief seconds to understand basically where and what had happened. And once he'd been able to speak a little more lucidly, that obviously something had happened which was out of the ordinary. So, got in the car, drove up there very quickly indeed.
Chris, open the window. Don't be stupid, it's me, open the door. You all right, son?
She's under the car. She's got to be under the car. I mean, I've looked for her everywhere. I can't find her. She's got to be under the car.
All right, son, all right. Just try and relax, okay?
Will you look under the car and see if she's there?
There's no one there. Chris, you sit here. I'm going to go and get some help. Will you be okay here?
Yeah.
I don't think you hit anyone, Chris.
Oh, I saw her so clearly, you know. I saw her face. She looked right at me, Dad. She looked right into my eyes and she was smiling.
The Ghost of Bluebell Hill story has been going on for a number of years, ever since I've been a police officer, which is going on for 18 years. And every so often you get, it resurrects itself, that somebody has seen something. And we'd had an incident a few weeks beforehand involving a coach driver on the main A229, and we could only think that Chris had possibly seen something of a similar nature.
It dawned on me that I'd probably run over this ghost and made things a lot worse for me, I think, in a way, because I'm not one of these people in the past that used to believe in things like that. I've never believed in ghosts as in faint white images that float around, or not like horror films portray. But I can say I definitely believe now that there is some sort of afterlife, whether it's between earth and heaven, if there is a heaven.
And Ian and Chris have joined us in the studio. Now, this is the first time that you two have actually met, so you've been able to compare notes. Are you convinced now, having talked to each other, that you did in fact see the same thing?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The descriptions we gave were very, very similar. The hair, the eyes, the shape of the face. It was more or less identical.
Lyle, what do you think? In 1965 there was a crash in this area where 3 girls were killed, and the local papers have tried to link what these gentlemen have seen with that. Do you think they've seen a ghost?
There are clear similarities in their stories, and these are quite impressive, but they don't seem to be related to that crash because the girls were all in the cars, they weren't crossing the road. It looks like a haunting, it sounds like a haunting, but we don't know of what, because we have no incident that we can link it with.
So if you say it sounds like a haunting, does that mean it was a ghost?
No, a playback of something. We don't know what. we just have to guess at that. So what the real question should be here is why these two experiences and all the others occur at this spot. Why this accident rather than the tens of thousands of others that have taken place on British roads? All they have in common here is Bluebell Hill. I think we should look at Bluebell Hill quite closely, because if we can see that map again, I'll show you what I mean. Ian's sighting down here at the south end of the road lies slap in the middle of a circle of Stone Age, Bronze Age burials. There's a Stone Age pathway here. There's a Roman road. We're absolutely surrounded here by prehistoric stuff. Now, a lot of these stone alignments, these megalithic alignments, have been found to have energetic properties of their own. If you take a Geiger counter or an ultrasound detector, sometimes infrared detectors will measure, you can find electromagnetic differentials, tiny ones, but big enough to tip a delicate balance like that in a quiet brain of someone driving by without much else on their mind on a Sunday night. And Ian's position in his car there is within 300 feet of Kids Coty. I find that interesting, if not significant.
Interesting or significant to you, Susan?
Well, interesting, yes, but I'm rather loath to call on these sort of strange powers coming from prehistoric times.
She always is.
Afraid so, that's me. But I'd try something that fits better with science, first of all. Could it have been a hallucination? Yes, they were similar, but not identical. One of you had it come from the left-hand side and one from the right, I believe. Now, I think it's possible that, as you said, it's something tipping the balance in the brain, but not a playback of the past, just a straightforward hallucination such as you can get by unstable effects here in the temporal lobes of the brain. Why then should this place be significant? I'm more interested in the modern things here, the electricity pylons, the masts there. And oddly enough, these events started very soon after those television masts were first turned on.
I'll buy that, but there's something we're missing here, and that's the correspondence between these two stories. Now, Ian had a story reported in the press, but the press misreported the story. They said he's seen a short, dark-haired, or a lady with short, dark hair, right?